Welcome to the first episode of Challenger Approaching Miniaturized. This spin-off series is a quicker take on popular characters in Smash Bros. Roster speculation, going over who they are and a handful of ideas that could go into their design if they did join the fight. Consider this a taste of the main episodes of this series and the full-size super intricate character concepts they're in. And with rumors of some kind of Smash game being developed for the Nintendo Switch, meaning an official reveal could happen any day, all the more reason to talk about them. For our debut episode, we're going to start from the top. These three characters are among those widely considered to be the most likely to get into Smash. Up first is the newcomer who's probably the biggest no-brainer of the lot, the Inklings. In case you've been living under a rock these last couple years, these stylish cephalopods come from Nintendo's star new franchise, Splatoon, a world populated by highly evolved sea creatures who have built a society much like our own. With their own fashions and pop culture, Inklings are all about all things fresh. Oh, and of course, all types of team-based arena combat, competing using their ability to shapeshift from kid to squid and shooting their own natural ink as ammo. With such a unique take on the third-person shooter formula, it's no wonder the series has been such a critical and commercial success from the get-go. Many people had the Inklings pin to be added to Smash 4's DLC, but some hesitation on the dev team's part meant we ended up getting 2 Mii costumes and a trophy. Sakurai seems to have a thing about waiting to see how new IPs pan out. But now that we have a sequel on the Switch and the Inklings are doing better than ever, Nintendo's freshest new faces have shown they're no mere flash in the pan, and seem poised to join Smash at the first opportunity they get. Taking a character and implementing them into Smash Bros. Is all about nailing who they are and how their abilities come together. The Inklings would likely use a mix of styles from Splatoon 1 and 2, starting with 4 male and 4 female costumes, using the orange girl as the default, of course. Odds are, their playstyle would be one centered around control, using their ink-based weaponry both as zoning tools and as a way of claiming as much of the stage as possible to pin opponents down. You know, just like inking territory in a turf war match. And they'd go about this with a new mechanic involving their ink. The Inklings' various attacks would cover stage surfaces in a thin layer of ink in that costume's color for a short time. Running across your ink would have your Inkling change into squid form for much faster swim speed, as well as having a low height crawl animation in squid form when in ink as well. This increased mobility would encourage actively claiming more turf, especially since they'd have pretty mediocre movement outside of it. The Inklings' attacks would pull from the many different weapon types available to them. It may not be completely in character to have, say, a charger, roller, slosher, and umbrella at your disposal at once, but it's the kind of creative choice that make for a really interesting moveset, and it's the kind of thing the developers have done in the past. The Inklings would carry a basic splatter shot as a default, but whip out other weapons as needed, such as a slosher to hurl paint above for an up smash, a charger quickscope for a mid-range forward smash, a blaster shot for a laggy back air, or a roller for a long-lasting but end-lag intensive dash attack. The bigger and riskier the move, the more ink it would generate. Then for specials, the Inklings could pull from all the different types of sub-weapons, like the Splat Bomb, Splash Wall, and Ink Mine, using them as secondary tools to help with their main attacks, just like in the Splatoon series proper. Their up special would have to be the Super Jump, of course. And for their final smash, any of the game-changing special attacks could do the job. Maybe an Ink Strike, Tentamissiles, or something simple like the Splashdown. Next up, let's take a swing at Springman. This aspiring champ comes from the ARMS fighting circuit, putting his super stretchy arms to good use. Another one of Nintendo's brand new IPs, ARMS has been modestly successful so far and has made a name for itself as a new, unconventional style of fighting game with an interesting setting and eclectic cast of characters. So naturally, speculators have been all abuzz about the new franchise on the block and how Sakurai and crew could cross-promote it to make it even more popular. Thing is though, the whole characters as promotion thing hasn't ever been the main reason someone's gotten into Smash. No, seriously. It's always more about if they're a good fit and if they can bring something new and interesting to the table. Which, fortunately, Springman definitely can. And while we've established that Sakurai likes to hesitate on brand new IPs, the longer we're stuck waiting for some kind of Smash news, the more likely it is that at least a handful of newcomers were picked after ARMS was on shelves, and ergo, the better chance Springman would have. If anything, he'd be a good DLC pick at minimum. And if you were to get into Smash, Springman could transition right in really well. His overall look wouldn't have to be altered much at all, and he even has 3 alternate palettes to use already. While he is the generic, well-rounded guy in his home series, and I've seen him get some flack for that, all Springman would have to do to stand out in Smash's environment would be to bring the natural fighting style of arms with him. Hey, it worked for Ryu. We could expect to see patient, deliberate movement alongside spring-powered punches that outrange every other physical attacker in the game, but with awful frame data, likely the worst of any fighter. Sounds pretty off the wall, right? And it'd have the aesthetics to match. With zanier-looking animations, that'd be a stark contrast to Little Mac's more realistic boxing techniques. Playing as Springman would feel just like fighting in arms, all about spacing your attacks wisely to wall and beat out opponents' options. You'd want to know when to punch, because flailing around wildly wouldn't cut it. To truly capture the feeling of arms, the Smash team could bring in Springman's ability to throw 2 punches independently from each other. Certain tilts and aerials would use just one of his fists at a time, and he could mix and match them to create space, poke at opponents, and compensate for the move's high commitment. This would all lend toward a playstyle that combined winning exchanges in neutral through proactive use of your range, and using your ability to perform 2 attacks at once to bait opponents into doing what you want. He'd also have a long-range grab in the same style as the fighters in arms, probably the longest range of any grab in Smash. Figuring out what to do for special moves would be a little trickier, though the most potential lies in the 3 types of arms available to Springman from the start. The standard toaster to burn enemies, the boomerang to blow them away, and the tri-bolt for a short stun. Using the respective special would bring out that arm type's elemental property. I want to say it only lasts for that punch though, since switching between them and tacking those properties onto all of Springman's attacks would run the risk of being one gimmick too many and overcomplicating the moveset. But then there are other options for specials as well, like using his signature parry skill as a counter, or even something crazy like hitching a ride from an item drone as a recovery move. And his rush attack could fit as a final smash, or maybe they'd want to do something crazier like getting headlock involved. The last of our big 3 doesn't have as vocal a support as the previous 2, but Decidueye would prefer to stay out of the spotlight anyway. Pokemon is such a massive franchise with an equally massive playable cast that it's practically a given we'll see at least one new Mon join the fight, especially with the massive success of its 7th generation and notable amount of prominent characters to choose from. You see, Pokemon is unusual in that its cast rotates, so to speak. Every new generation brings a new cast of characters and new major figures among them, and so we want to focus on these new faces because they'll take priority as newcomers over any from older generations. But why Decidueye in particular? Well, many Smashers want a grass type to give Smash a complete set with the Fire Starter Charizard and the Water Starter Greninja. Mind you, that's not how the dev team looks at it. They don't pick newcomers just to fill quotas, but they do tend to look at characters who can bring new, unique ideas to the roster. And we don't have a character right now with the plant-based powers of a grass type, much less one with a much greater focus on archery than any character we've had so far. Combine that uniqueness with Gen 7's current relevance and the prominence of being a starter Pokemon, and you have a character rightfully considered a frontrunner, at least until Gen 8 happens and complicates things. Decidueye would fit right into Smash with few updates or alterations. All they need to do is size them up a little since they do that with most Pokemon on the roster anyway. Alternate skins could use other combinations of natural colors befitting a grass type. Some other shades of green and brown, maybe an autumn-themed one with reddish-orange leaves, maybe a brown dead leaf alt, since when you're also a ghost type you get associated with dead stuff, but probably not the shiny colors since Smash tends to shy away from using those for whatever reason. The key with Decidueye's animations would be to capture the feel of a cold, calculated sniper, stalking his target silently and vanquishing them with a single decisive shot. So we're talking zoning built more for strength and precision than a hailstorm of projectiles. You'd have some up-close stuff, of course, but they'd be your plan B, not something to rely on. And since Decidueye does have a mere 70 base speed in the Pokemon games, we're likely looking at mediocre mobility overall. Again, this is a character designed more for precise sniper tactics than running and gunning. Could safely expect multiple mid-air jumps though, about 4 jumps total. Decidueye's moveset proper would likely be very different from the one in Pokken Tournament. The 2 series have quite a contrast in their design philosophies behind how they build movesets. That said, we could safely expect the Smash moveset to still sneak in a lot of moves from Decidueye's natural repertoire in the Pokemon games, such as Tackle, Fury Attack, Leafage, Razor Leaf, Leaf Blade, down smash material that one, Foresight, and or Brave Bird. Some archery skills could come in via Decidueye's signature Spirit Shackle as a neutral special, an arcing arrow shot that could stun or pin a nearby opponent when it hits the ground. You could even take the Archer motif further by making Decidueye's forward and up smashes into charged arrow shots that could even be angled like some other smashes. And then of course it could use the signature Z move Sinister Arrow Raid as a final smash. Inkling, Springman, and Decidueye. 3 of the biggest names in Smash Talk right now, and 3 of the characters best poised to join the fight if the opportunity arises. They may hog a lot of the fans' attention, but there's more to be found here than just bandwagons. So, do you enjoy this little change of pace? These are going to be a side thing for Challenger approaching proper, so expect more in the coming months. Which of these 2 topics do you want to see a set of mini-concepts for next? More Pokemon newcomers? Or characters who could move up from Assist Trophy to Playable? Leave a comment below for what you want and why you want to see them. And if you want to lend a hand toward helping these happen more often, here's how you can do so. I haven't been doing so good health-wise, but supporting this channel will help me do something about it in the long run. A huge thank you to those who've helped me keep my head above water these last few months. I'm not sure I want to know where I'd be right now if it weren't for all of you. And special thanks to Voyager, who lent a hand with some of the graphics in this episode. So, until next time, keep an eye open and an ear to the ground for any kind of official Smash news. Can't be too much longer, right?